CBSE Class 12 board exams stand cancelled due to COVID following a review meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Results to be compiled by CBSE under well-defined and objective criteria in a time-bound manner. ICSE board also follows suit. Prime Minister stresses that health and safety of students is of utmost importance and there can be no compromise on this. Second wave of COVID-19 weakens in the country. Daily positivity rate drops to 6.57% with 1,32,000 new cases in the last 24 hours. 21 crore 85 lakh vaccine doses given so far. Unlock process begins in some states. Centre says it is fully prepared for COVID's third wave, which may impact children. National COVID Task Force will submit guidelines on children very soon. Health Ministry says all will be vaccinated by end of the year. BRICS Foreign Ministers meet virtually held with India as the chair. Focus remains on COVID-19 pandemic, access to vaccines and counter-terrorism. Ministers agree on 6 principles for strengthening and reforming the multilateral system. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says India strives for a fair, just, inclusive, equitable and representative multipolar international system. Djokovic and Nadal cruised through the first round of French Open. World number 1 Novak Djokovic salutes brave and bold Naomi Osaka for withdrawing from the Grand Slam after revealing her struggles with depression and anxiety, while Grand Slams pledge to create meaningful improvements over the issue. Good morning. You're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting this edition of the news this hour. Our top story first. CBSE board exams for Class 12 have been cancelled. The decision was taken in a meeting where Prime Minister reviewed the issue. Following suit, ICSE has also decided that board examinations as well will not be held this year. Officials gave a detailed presentation on the wide and extensive consultation held so far and the views received from all stakeholders, including the state governments. In view of the uncertain conditions due to COVID and the feedback obtained from various stakeholders, it was decided that Class 12 board exams would not be held this year. It was also decided that CBSE will take steps to compile the results of Class 12 students as per well-defined objective criteria in a time-bound manner. Prime Minister said that the decision on Class 12 CBSE exams has been taken in the interest of students. He stated that COVID-19 has affected the academic calendar and the issue of board exams has been causing immense anxiety among students, parents and teachers, which must be put to an end. Prime Minister said that the COVID situation is a dynamic situation across the country. While the numbers are coming down in the country and some states are managing the situation through effective micro-containment, some states have still opted for a lockdown. Students, parents and teachers are naturally worried about the health of the students in such a situation. Prime Minister said that the students should not be forced to appear for exams in such a stressful situation. He stressed that the health and safety of our students is of utmost importance and there would be no compromise on this aspect. He said that in today's time, such exams cannot be the reason to put our youth at risk. Prime Minister also said that all stakeholders need to show sensitivity for students. He directed officials to ensure that the results are prepared in accordance with well-defined criteria in a fair and time-bound manner. Referring to a wide consultative process, Prime Minister expressed appreciation that a student-friendly decision has been reached after consulting all stakeholders from across the length and breadth of India. He also thanked the states for providing feedback on this issue, and it was also decided that, like last year, in case the students desire to take the examinations, such an option would be provided to them by CBSE as and when the situation becomes conducive. And the students have expressed a sigh of relief on the decision. We get you more. Let's hear in the reactions.
For the past 3 months, I was studying for the upcoming board exams, but today, the government of India, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, has taken a very, very wise decision to cancel these exams, keeping in mind the worsening COVID situation. It was really a very stressful time for us because we all were very scared to go to the exam centers and write the exam. Once again, I'm very, very thankful to the Prime Minister for taking a decision in the students' favor.
I'm really glad that the Class 12 CBSE exams have been cancelled. As a Class 12 student myself, I was quite prepared to give the exams. However, I really applaud the bold decision taken which considers the health and safety of the students.
With declining trend in new cases maintained, India has reported 1.32 lakh daily new cases in the last 24 hours. The country's active caseload further declined and is presently at 17,93,645. Active cases have decreased by 1,01,875 in the last 24 hours. Recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 20th consecutive day. 2,31,456 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. A total of 2,61,79,085 were the total recoveries made across the country so far. The recovery rate continues to increase at 92.48%. Weekly positivity rate currently stands at 8.21%, while the daily positivity rate has dipped to 6.57%, less than 10% for the 9th consecutive day. Testing for COVID-19 has further been ranked up in the country. As per the Indian Council of Medical Research, 20,19,773 samples have been tested on Tuesday. So far, a total of 35,57,330 samples have been tested for COVID-19 in India. The cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country has now exceeded 21.85 crore. The cumulative number of the vaccine doses administered in the country stands at 21 crore 85 lakh 46,667. As on day 137 of the vaccination drive, that was yesterday, 1st of June, a total of 23 lakh 97,191 vaccine doses were given. Bihar, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal have administered more than 10 lakh beneficiaries of the age group 18 to 44 years for the first dose of COVID vaccine. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul has informed that a national expert group has been formed to review the COVID-19 infections in children and approach the pandemic in a renewed way to strengthen the nation's preparedness. Briefing media in New Delhi on Tuesday, Dr. Paul said that fresh guidelines will be adopted based on review of the data by the expert group.
पैंडेमिक के बिहेवियर को देखते हुए और वायरस की नेचर को देखते हुए न्यू वे टू एड्रेस दिस और रिन्यूड वे, अपडेटेड वे करने के लिए गाइडलाइंस जो हैं वो इस ग्रुप ने हमें प्रस्तुत कर दी हैं। पीडियाट्रिक पॉपुलेशन को कोविड के लिए जो ज़रूरत है वो उसका बंदोबस्त होगा और उस बंदोबस्त में कोई कमी नहीं होगी और जैसे मैंने कहा उसको नई साइंस, नए एक्सपीरियंस, नए नॉलेज को भी भरपूर करते हुए उस तरफ हम बढ़ेंगे।
Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has approved notification to ensure that private hospitals in the state cannot overcharge patients for COVID treatment. He has also directed the district collectors and municipal commissioners for strict and effective implementation. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Maharashtra corona updates. 14,123 new cases were reported in the state. 35,949 patients were discharged in the last 24 hours. 54,31,319 COVID patients were discharged after full recovery so far. 477 COVID-19 deaths have been reported from the state on Tuesday. Out of 3,52,77,653 lab samples, 57,61,015 have been tested positive, and the positivity rate stands for 16.33%. International aid continues to pour in to aid India in its fight against COVID-19. The Ministry of External Affairs said that a consignment of 15 ventilators and 12,000 tablets of favipiravir has reached India from Iceland on Wednesday morning. Significantly, COVID cases in India are decreasing every passing day, with a steady decline in the number of COVID patients. Decline in the number of active patients is also being observed. The state of Telangana is celebrating its 8th Formation Day today. Governor Dr. T. Soundararajan and Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao have greeted people on the state on this occasion. The Formation Day celebrations will be held in all the districts and the capital city Hyderabad in accordance with the COVID norms. President Ramnath Kovind has extended best wishes to the people of Telangana on the occasion of the state's Formation Day. In a tweet, he said, and I quote him, "Greetings to all, especially to the people of Telangana on Statehood Day. I wish Telangana continues to expand its traditional, modern and futuristic industries. It has fulfilled the national objective of providing water to every home, wishing a bright future for the people of the state." Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has also greeted people of the state on the occasion. He tweeted, and I quote him, "Telangana is home to age-old traditions and is known for its rich history, diverse cultural heritage and architectural grandeur." He also added that the state and its able people have contributed immensely towards development of the nation. He extended best wishes for progress and prosperity of the state and well-being of its people. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also extended greetings to people of Telangana. He tweeted, and I quote him, "The state is blessed with unique culture and hardworking people who have excelled in many areas." He also offered prayers for good health and well-being of the people of Telangana. Also, Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Prakash Javadekar, also greeted people of Telangana. In a tweet, he said, and I quote him, "Warm greetings to people of Telangana on the State Formation Day." He prayed for prosperity and good health of the people of Telangana. India, as the current BRICS chair, convened the standalone meeting of BRICS Ministers of Foreign Affairs and International Relations on Tuesday. Ministers exchanged views on furthering intra-BRICS cooperation on the three pillars of political and security, economic and finance, and people-to-people and cultural exchanges. Delivering the welcome remarks at the meeting, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that our collective endeavour is to ensure that global decision-making represents the contemporary realities. To this end, India has identified the 4 key deliverables for its chairship. Now, these include reform for multilateral system, counter-terrorism cooperation, using digital and technological solutions to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and enhancing people-to-people cooperation.
We have identified 4 key deliverables for our chairship: reform of the multilateral system, counter-terrorism cooperation, using digital and technological solutions to achieve SDGs, and enhancing people-to-people cooperation. I'm very happy to note that we have made substantial progress on each of these areas in the past 5 months with the continued cooperation and support of our partners.
As for the joint statement, the foreign ministers of Brazil, Russian Federation, India, China and South Africa reviewed progress in intra-BRICS cooperation and collaboration. The ministers also expressed concern over continuing public health, societal and economic impact of COVID-19. Emphasis on bilateral and multilateral cooperation to combat the pandemic was also laid, and urgency for expeditious development and deployment of COVID-19 vaccines was also on their minds. Ministers, however, reiterated their commitment to multilateralism through upholding international law and reaffirming commitment to the implementation of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Foreign ministers also expressed their concern at continuing conflicts and violence in different parts of the world. In a goodwill gesture, ministers commended India and South Africa for their respective present and recent terms served in the UNSC. Meanwhile, support for a transparent, rules-based, open, inclusive and non-discriminatory multilateral trading system was also stressed upon. Also, the need to restore normal functioning of all the WTO's functions were also taken up. Some states have started to ease curfew or lockdown-like restrictions amidst a gradual decline in cases. In Bihar, concessions have been given for business activities during lockdown from today. Lockdown in the state will continue till 8th of June in the state. All types of shops and business establishments will open on alternate days from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. As per the revised guidelines, all government offices will function every day till 4 p.m. with 25% attendance. Private and non-government offices will remain closed. Banks will function till 2 p.m. As the declining trend in COVID-19 cases continued, Rajasthan government has also started unlock process by easing certain restrictions from today. According to the guidelines for modified lockdown, exemption for various activities will be given only in areas where the positivity rate is less than 10%. All government offices of the state will open from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. with presence of 25% employees till June 7th and 50% after June 7th. While private offices can be opened up to 2 p.m. with presence of 25% employees. The weekend curfew will remain in force every Friday afternoon from noon to 5 a.m. Tuesday till the number of active cases in the state reduces to 10,000. Public discipline curfew will continue on the rest of the days from noon to 5 a.m. the next day. International updates now. We begin by getting you the global updates on COVID first. The world is battling COVID-19 pandemic. So far, 17 crore 19 lakh people have tested positive for the virus globally. The number of recoveries stands more than 15 crore 44 lakh. As many as over 35 lakh 75,000 people have died worldwide due to the virus. The United States continues to register maximum number of COVID-19 cases in the world. More than 3 crore 41 lakh people have tested positive for the virus in the country, while the deaths so far due to the virus have crossed 6 lakh 10,000. The World Health Organization has approved Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use. This is the second Chinese jab to receive WHO's green light. The UN Health Agency signed off on the 2-dose vaccine, which is already being deployed in several countries around the world. The move gives countries, funders, procuring agencies and communities an assurance that it meets international standards for safety, efficacy and manufacturing. Last month, Sinopharm became the first Chinese vaccine to be approved by WHO. The organization has also given emergency use listing to vaccines being made by Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson's and the AstraZeneca jab being produced in India, South Korea and the European Union, which it counts separately. World Bank President David Malpass has said that it is vital that the United States frees up excess COVID-19 vaccine doses for Latin America. He also said that World Bank now has $12 billion in COVID-19 vaccine financing available and will have approved vaccination financing operations in over 50 countries by the end of June.
These next few weeks are vital that, in particular, the U.S. frees up excess to go to programs that exist. We're ready to take them tomorrow in the 3 countries I mentioned, and by 2 weeks from now in more countries within Latin America. Thanks. Each of us has an important role in this global vaccination effort. My immediate priority is for countries that have sufficient supply to quickly release doses to countries that have vaccination deployment programs. The World Bank has $12 billion in vaccine financing available now and more if needed to help countries buy and distribute COVID-19 vaccines and to encourage vaccinations.
Moderna has said that it has started an application for full US approval of its COVID-19 vaccine, which is currently only authorized for emergency use in the country. The development comes weeks after rival Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech sought full approval of their COVID-19 vaccine in the United States. Full approval for the vaccines, which are at the forefront of global immunization efforts, could be an important step in allaying vaccine hesitancy, a growing concern in the United States and also other wealthy nations. Moderna said that it will continue to submit data to the US Food and Drug Administration on a rolling basis over the coming weeks with a request for a priority review. Once the rolling submission is complete, the FDA will notify the company when it is formally accepted for review. Brazil has signed a technology transfer contract with the pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca to produce the vaccine against COVID-19 developed by University of Oxford. The agreement will allow the federally run Oswaldo Cruz Foundation to have full access to the drug's production method and manufacture in the country the active pharmaceutical ingredient, a key component of the vaccines. Fiocruz produced the AstraZeneca vaccine but imported the API from other countries. Talking to media, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro said that the agreement would make Brazil be able to export the vaccine to neighboring countries and also other developing nations. Meanwhile, in France, people could enjoy the sun now as the entire France experienced summer-like weather. After grey and chilly past few weeks, temperatures rose to 27 degrees Celsius in the French capital. The sunny weather comes as France gradually lifts COVID-19 restrictions, starting with reopening of the restaurants, terraces, theatres and museums in May. Dining terraces, a major feature of the life in Paris, and cultural sites have attracted flocks of people, bringing back the lively buzz in the capital. Algeria partially reopened its skies to flights on Tuesday after a 14-month shutdown due to COVID-19 pandemic. Great caution governed the partial reopening with limited flights, tests for COVID-19 and a required quarantine. Those heading to Algiers must have a negative PCR test less than 36 hours before boarding, and all passengers must undergo 5-day quarantine in a hotel requisitioned by the state. A negative test result is required to leave the hotel. The number of weekly flights and destinations is limited to 5 cities of France, Tunisia, Spain and Turkey. Algeria closed its borders and suspended flights in March 2020 when the global pandemic struck, only reopening them to humanitarian flights from France between January and March this year. Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, has said that it would be wrong to ignore warnings of a third COVID wave in the United Kingdom. In the address to Parliament, she said that many public health experts are warning that the UK could now be at the start of a third wave. A scientific advisor to the UK government has warned that there were signs in the UK that it was in the early stages of a third wave of infections. Keeping in mind the current situation, Scotland's first Prime Minister has paused lockdown easing in some areas of the country. Many island communities will move to level 0, that is the lowest level there is under Scotland's 5-tier system, while 15 council areas will step down to level 1. But 13 local authority areas including Edinburgh, Dundee and Stirling will remain in level 2 for the time being. Ecuador has launched a plan to vaccinate 9 million people against COVID-19 in 100 days. The South American country's rollout will use more than 300 spaces that had been equipped to serve as election centers in the recent April vote. The government will deploy mobile vaccination brigades to hard-to-reach rural areas, including the communities of the Amazon region. The country has so far received around 3.5 million doses of the vaccines, including Pfizer, AstraZeneca vaccines, negotiating with the Russian government is on to purchase 18 million doses of the Sputnik vaccine. The Ecuadorian president also asked United Nations to speed up delivery of vaccines through the COVAX initiative. Ecuador began its inoculation campaign in January, but former president failed to make rapid progress due to logistical problems and also frequent changes of authorities in the health area. Ecuador has registered over 4,27,000 infections and more than 20,500 deaths. In other international news, NATO foreign and defense ministers have agreed to continue supporting the Afghan community even after the withdrawal of forces from Kabul. The U.S. military will hand over its main Bagram Air Base to Afghan forces in about 20 days as Washington carries out its final withdrawal after nearly 2 decades of war. The vast base, built by the Soviets in the 1980s, is the biggest military facility used by U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan, with tens of thousands of troops stationed there during the peak of America's military involvement in the violence-racked country. An Afghan security official said that the handover was expected in about 20 days and the Defense Ministry had set up special committees to manage it. The Pentagon has indicated that the pace of the withdrawal was picking up. As of Monday, U.S. Central Command estimated that it had completed 30 to 44% of the so-called retrograde process. Google Doodle today celebrates American gay rights activist Frank Kameny, widely recognized as one of the most prominent figures of the U.S. LGBTQ rights movement, in celebration of the Pride Month. Kameny, a Harvard astronomy PhD, who was reportedly fired from a federal job in the 1950s because of his homosexuality, was a leading militant in the ultimately successful fight to give gay people U.S. security clearances. He also played a major role in the campaign that led the American Psychiatric Association to stop classifying homosexuality as a mental disorder. Let's get to sports updates now. Novak Djokovic has backed Japanese tennis player Naomi Osaka's decision to pull out of the French Open after a comfortable first-round win. Djokovic has described Osaka as brave and courageous to pull out of the Grand Slam after revealing her struggle with depression and anxiety. Djokovic said in his statement that he supports Osaka, adding that she was brave enough to do that and that he is sorry that she is going through a painful time and is suffering mentally. Reacting to this development, the 4 Grand Slams have said that they are looking at changes to their tournaments in light of the crisis. According to a statement issued by the Grand Slams, it was stated that they stand with the players, the tours, the media and the broader tennis community to create meaningful improvements. World number 2 Naomi Osaka decided to pull out of the French Open, citing depression and anxiety after winning the first round. That's it in this edition of the News This Hour. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.